The MCLA playoffs began for the Jackets against one of the traditional powers in lacrosse, the Cal Bears. In a tight defensive struggle, the outcome was in doubt until the last 15 seconds of the contest.
Not sure. 20 and 15 seconds, and Georgia Tech scores to lead 5-3.
Holland Frost's open net goal clinched the game, and a trip to the quarterfinals where they would meet up with the four-time MCLA champions, the BYU Cougars. Once again, the game was a defensive struggle. Tech took a 5-2 lead into the fourth quarter, but the Cougars staged a furious rally.
Wow, there it is, Coach! Farley! Back-to-back goals for Farley. Label dodging the alley. Farley does all of his work off the ball, goes low to low with it, finds the back of the net. 6-5 here.
Just when it looked like the Jackets would collapse, they caught their second wind, and then blew out the lights.
Farley makes up for that last turnover. Wow, and there you go.
Answer.
There's your answer,
Great
Coach.
Answer.
O'Brien finishing the transition there.
Georgia Tech had defied the odds, silenced the critics, and for these underdogs from the SELC, they were headed to the semifinals.
Georgia Tech moving on.
Wow, great job.
For me personally, all my questions have been answered about Georgia Tech.
Absolutely.
The win moved Tech into the MCLA Final Four, which was a first in program history. Their reward was a date with the #1 ranked and undefeated Chapman Panthers. The challenge would be even tougher because the game would be on the Panthers' home field.
It's time to play the game.
Just 90 seconds into the game, the Panthers struck first.
And in transition, Chapman scores immediately. Wesley Gleason, 1-0, 90 seconds in.
Great play there by Gleason, and that started on the other end.
But these Jackets had come way too far now to fold as they absorbed the initial blow, then punched their way back to a 2-goal lead late in the first half.
Work them together. Comes back left. No.
At the break, Tech led 5-4, and so far, they had surprised everyone who thought Eastern teams couldn't compete with the big boys.
I think they always feel like they got to prove something. I think there's always been sort of a moniker with Tech, and we're a defensive team, and maybe we're not quite good enough, or we're nerd laxers, whatever you want to call it. But I think they've taken a real chip on their shoulder and want to prove that East Coast teams can play a little bit. And so far, defensively, we're doing a pretty good job. We can certainly shore up a few more things, but hopefully our offense will continue to get more goals in the back of the net, and our defense will keep up the good pressure that they're putting on Chapman right now.
The second half saw both teams slugging it out as neither team could pull away. Tim Peterson's goal tied the game for Tech, but 3 minutes later, Chapman pulled ahead 7-6 and took that lead into the final 15 minutes. The fourth quarter saw Chapman take control of the game, as a goal gave them their largest lead of the day, 10-7. But when it appeared to be its darkest, the Jackets pushed the light back into the sky and made one last charge.
Now some open space there, and Daniel Radke does not hesitate, gets it back to a 2-goal game. Minute 15 left, in close, Connolly scores! Do you believe?
I know these Georgia Tech fans certainly do. What a play there by Brian Connolly.
However, the dream would end on this night, as a late goal into an empty net gave Chapman a hard-fought 11-9 victory and a trip to the MCLA championship game.
11-9 with 48 seconds left.
It's the free goal.